Joining us now is Holocaust survivor Eddy Boas. Today, he hosted a reunion of hundreds of Holocaust survivors in Sydney and Melbourne, and we're so honoured to have him here with us in the studio. Eddy, can you tell us, how was the reunion today?
It was excellent. It was quite exciting, actually, to see so many survivors there and their partners or companions. The function was very smoothly. The food was nice, the people were nice, the speeches were nice. It's not often I don't complain about something, but I can't complain about anything that happened today.
Out of curiosity, how many Holocaust survivors are in Australia?
A year ago, the Claims Conference, which is a major, works for the German government that looks after Holocaust survivors around the world, but not in Europe. They claimed there were 2,500 Holocaust survivors in Australia and 450,000 in the world. This year they came in with a figure of 420,000 in the world and about 2,200 in Australia.
And how concerned were people at the reunion today about the rising anti-Semitism we've seen around Australia? I mean, you yourself are a survivor of a concentration camp. You've seen Nazi Europe, like so many of all the survivors in the room there. Is anti-Semitism something that is deeply concerning for the survivors?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I'm a very frank person, and everybody who interviews me knows that. It's leadership, lack of leadership in Australia. You know, I think we had Chris Spence there, and I said this the other night on a show here. He should be the Prime Minister of Australia. He speaks from the heart. His speech today was fantastic, criticising why we have anti-Semitism, like Shari does all the time, you know? It shouldn't happen. It's easily stopped. Just, you know, punish the people that do the stupid things, not give them a slap on the hands and then they can do it again tomorrow.
We were talking earlier, Eddy, about calls for Anthony Albanese to go to Israel and see firsthand what's happening on the ground. Penny Wong, the Foreign Minister, she went not long after October 7. I can see you shaking your head because I think you know what I'm about to say.
Yes.
She went there, but then inexplicably declined to go to the scene of the October 7 attacks. Apparently it was 45 minutes down the road and she just did not have the time. Can you believe it? I mean, I know you're going to answer yes, Anthony Albanese should go to Israel. Why is it so important that the leader of our country actually visits Israel, our ally in the region? And what perspective would change if he was to go there?
I would like to ask him a question first. Why wouldn't you go? There's absolutely no reason not to go. You can only learn. You know, if you can still keep your own mind, and if you don't agree with what you see, that's your business. But go and listen. I went about a year or so ago, Freya may have been there, we went to the university, at the Sydney University, I think you were there.
Yeah.
Nobody was interested in listening to what we had to say. You know, if you don't listen to the opposition, you don't learn. And Anthony Albanese should go to Israel to learn. If he doesn't like it, that's his privilege. You can't lose.
Indeed.
And it's deeply concerning as well. I mean, on social media, there's been this really interesting and very scary rise in Holocaust denialism. And that's feeding into the anti-Semitism, into the extreme hatred of Israel. Obviously, it's amazing that you guys were able to do the reunion today, but the reality is that within our generation, there won't be any Holocaust survivors left. So how do we keep the memory of the Holocaust alive?
Education is one thing, and at the moment we are fortunate that people like me who can go to schools and talk to schools children, but that I'm not going to be able to do that for the rest of my life. I'm 85 now, and education. But the problem is, and I left school at 15, so I am a person that I'll call myself a professor of streetwise. Right? And my friends have went to university. I think what's got to happen is education is the only way you can stop it. But the government's got to step in. And you know, professors and academics, you can't go in front there, read out of a book, and you've got to be able to know what you're talking about. And education, that's why I go to schools, and I've done a lot of them in high schools and primary schools, universities. I like talking to school children more than I do to adults. The questions are much better. And the kids can relate to when I talk when I was 4 or 5 years old. And I didn't have any, if I'm allowed to say this, what my mother told me, I didn't have any shoes or socks in the winter, and she told me to pee on my feet, keep my feet warm. And that's the way we lived.
I've got to ask you this, Eddie, because you come across as a very positive, vivacious kind of guy. You escaped a concentration camp from the Nazis as a little boy. Now here you are on national television at the age of 85, talking about the problem of anti-Semitism. Does it not anger you inside that after all these years, having survived what you survived, you're still having to fight this same damn fight all over again?
I'm not one who gets angry too quickly. I get annoyed with people. I'm getting fed up with this government. And I think they've got to go about it differently. And if they don't go about it differently, it's only going to get worse. And the way to go about it differently, step in and arrest people. Don't make excuses.
Well, thank you so much, Eddie, for joining us in the studio, and amazing work on the beautiful reunion today. Education and leadership, that's what it'll take to combat anti-Semitism.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you.